Welcome back to another episode of Sailing Sitka. I'm Kenna and this is Jay. If you are new here, well, welcome aboard. Currently, we are in La Cruz, Mexico, doing some repairs and fixings to our Choili Offshore 41 sailboat. If you've watched previous episodes, then you know our gooseneck attachment failed while we were sailing here from Mazatlan. We are now in the process of addressing this problem, and that's what this week's episode entails. Because, after all, cruising is just fixing your boat in exotic places, am I right? Well, we hope you enjoy and you continue to watch whatever the hell we get up to next. Previously, and a few episodes back, Jay discovered that our gooseneck was in worse condition than imagined. The brass metal was completely cracked and could no longer safely sustain the weight of the boom. We asked around and got a name of a local metal fabricator that was capable of doing the fix. Jay then drew out a design of what he would like the gooseneck attachment to look like now, and we carried on from there. Nearly a month went by and this fabricator was falling short on his end. His timings were inaccurate, and because we needed this part to be done ASAP in order to sail again, we decided to ask the man who fixed our prop. If you're not too sure what I'm talking about, make sure you go check out that episode where we change our prop underwater with the help of SV Avocet. Long story short, he said yes. And that brings us up to date, where Jay and I are now having to take off the mainsail and the stack pack and the lazy jacks prior to taking off the entire boom. We're doing this in order to remove the gooseneck so that the fabricator can repair it, which he assured us is possible after seeing it in person. We're happy with this, as it lowered the cost dramatically instead of getting a complete new gooseneck fabricated.
So since we've sailed off, like all the source of all our problems, almost all of them, came from things that were tracks that were on the mast. Like whether it's this spinnaker pull track that like pulled out, so we can't move this car up and down, so that's gonna have to be fixed. This slide that you've seen a million times, or the track, sorry, that you've seen a million times, me having to go hammer because it just deforms itself. So it's been a pain in the butt. And now the gooseneck, which is cracked on the port side, and where the outhaul car goes, even though it's a loose-footed sail, the outhaul was attached to the car back there, and I don't know if Kenna's gonna go show you there. It's completely ripped off of the track, which happened probably only when the gooseneck failed. And I think if it wasn't for this reef line going around, it would have probably ripped completely off. Like I think the end of the track would have ripped completely off. So yeah, we're gonna have to do a lot more work on here than I was anticipating. Just all these things are a freaking nightmare to figure out here. There's not a lot of parts and things are really expensive and time consuming, and obviously when you're at anchor and you don't have, you know, all the things and conveniences that we had back home, for example a car and, you know, contacts of like where to go, and you know, it can make like simple little projects take forever, and complex ones like this can take several months. We're already a month in this, and like just being, you know, getting the whole like, oh, it's gonna be ready tomorrow, and it's not. So that's why we were thinking of switching to the guy who did our prop, because he did the prop really fast and well and kept us updated throughout the entire project. And this is something I can't do. Like I don't have a metal shop available. I can't like just do that myself, which is I hate depending on other people. But this boom is pretty and all, but if I found an aluminum mast that was free or like close to free and that was in good condition, I would definitely love that with a boom. But yeah, because it's always, that is the problem. Wood is pretty, but you can't, like, a lot of things are just screws in it, and with enough tension or torsion they just pop out. Like in normal sailing conditions it's fine, but, and it's actually not in crazy winds that a lot of the problems arise. It's actually when we're in big seas and light winds, after a storm or something, when everything starts luffing, that's when we start having problems with the whole banging, and then it just rips things off. When everything's tensioned, in heavy winds, we've never had really an issue with anything. It's really always been in luffing situations, apart from the spreader, but that's a different issue in itself. But yeah, old boats, They're pretty, but they got problems. Almost at 2,000. McKenna actually cried when we made it past 100 subscribers the first time.
I remember the first day that happened.
Yeah.
I remember getting, actually, to be fair, I remember getting in the double digits, so like 10.
Yeah.
I called Jay at work, I'm pretty sure. I messaged him at work, and I was like, did you see? We hit the double digits, so it's come a far way. Oh, it's gonna look so cool, and it's gonna be like 2 0 0 0 0 0 0 2 0 0
2,000, let's go, Daddy.
Can you see it?
We made it. We made it. We made it. 2,000. We made it, honey.
We made it.
Now let's go to 3,000.
All the way up.
All the way up. Nothing can stop me.
All the way up.
Except epoxy. Woo! Right now I'm just prepping the surface of where we're gonna reinstall the mounting for the gooseneck. So luckily our welder fabricator friend, which I really need to find out his name because he's super nice, him and his wife, and he's gonna be able to recreate the bracket that slides on this part, which is really good because it saves us time, but most importantly it saves us money because we've got plenty of time, but money is a bit finite right now. So I'm gonna just take all this old bedding compound basically. I'm gonna sand it down once I get most of this compound down so I get a better mating surface. And once that's done, I'm gonna do the same on the boom. And then after that, I'm gonna put a bit of a thickened epoxy in the screw holes just to give it more bite for next time we put these screws, because it's a wooden mast, so it's not like we can drill and tap holes like an aluminum mast. So just so the threads have a little bit more to bite on. And then I'm gonna go get some 4200 Sikaflex or some sort of bedding compound that is also a glue. I'm not a big fan of 4200 and 5200, but in this case, like, you want this to stick really good. So, and it's harder here, honestly, just because it's such a rolling anchorage that you spend, like, I'm exhausted working on the boat here for just a few hours a day, honestly. Also, you're in the sun all day. So, like, back home, I could work on the boat 12-hour days, no problem, at a dock. But this is, and here, honestly, like, if it's anywhere past noon, forget about it. It's so rolly, it's like insanity.
I just finished sanding this bit with 80 grit to get all the sealant off. And now Jay is trying to get it off of the boom part.
Yeah, so I gotta get I'm pretty much done this side, but I gotta do the other side after. I gotta make sure all the sealant's gone so we get a good mating surface, especially in these grooves. I'm pretty impressed by the construction of this boom. Actually, it's crazy heavy. Like,
yeah,
it's nuts. Like, honestly, a boom this size in aluminum probably weighs a fifth of this, like, which is good. Like, you don't want too much weight on a boat, but I mean, this thing, like, I'm super impressed with. I mean, this thing was getting bashed The only thing that happened is this kind of separated a tiny bit, but it's not like the glue seams are still good. So yeah, no, this is actually fared out really good. So you guys saw the other side, and now we just spin the boom around, and now we're gonna take all this caulking out and sand again this side. It's not too bad of a job. Dice winners only. I haven't won a game of dice yet, so I might not be able to drink water.
We're just about to fill our tanks, thanks to Max and Karen on SB Lusty for filling us. Once again. This is like the second time now. Won't be the last.
Big fail, but they always give us drinking water like once every 4 days.
Yeah. And this is our system, as you guys know if you have been watching. If you haven't, this is how we fill our water tank.
I'm not allowed to touch this 20 liters though, because I have yet to win a game.
It's a big old world. So what did I miss? California girl, Oregon bliss. Alright. It's a matter of time, and it's a matter of heart. Take a look at my life. Let's go back to the start. And I don't know why I'm standing here while the rain is falling down. And I don't know why it's crystal clear. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? It's a picture perfect kind of world with you, world with you. It's a picture perfect kind of world with you, world with you. And the truth is I don't know another who makes me feel like there's nothing wrong. It's a picture perfect kind of world with you, world with you. It's a picture perfect kind of world with you, world with you.
All right, we're rebedding the attachment for the gooseneck. Listening to some 2000 pop. Just had my buddy Antoine show up out of the blue. Met him in Japan. Had a few beers and decided it was a good time while it's rolly to attempt putting this back on, because the welder will be here in about an hour with the parts. I want to do this part and then the next part. Then tomorrow we should have a boom back before we go out and celebrate St. Paddy's Day.
What are you using?
3M 4000 Fast Cure UV. I cleaned everything with acetone first. Okay guys, this is not about being pretty. As you can see, just need some fucking fluid on there.
Circuit He looks calm and ready to drop bombs, but he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud. He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking now. Isn't that cool? See this guy?
You're having a lot more fun than I'm having.
Do you see the black sail one? That's rad. Good.
All right, so we got the part back. So we got the whole gooseneck assembly back. And now it works like it's supposed to. So this goes on the mast, so it allows the boom to pivot this way and up and down. What was really nice is this is actually brass, and he was able to braze it and fix it, which saved us a lot of money, because rebuilding all these parts and casting all these parts was going to cost like $1,200 US. So, and it ended up costing us like 400 Canadian for it to be all fixed. So super nice. And this is all our old parts, so it's kind of recycled, so that's kind of nice. And like the pin comes out so easy now. I had to hammer this pin in for like, so what ended up happening offshore is this: the block down here broke off, and when we left, this pin came up like so out of the bottom bracket and then bent this one sideways and torqued it like this. And then this pin bent a little bit, or maybe the pin wasn't bent, but this was bent. And then I had to hammer this back in place by hammering the pins. The pin's stronger than this. So this, it took like hours offshore to try to get it back in. And then this ended up cracking here and a crack here. And then this was obviously not able to turn. This was still fine, but there's a crack. So that's all fixed and nice, which is good. So now what we're going to do, even though it's night, is
literally nighttime.
Nighttime. We're gonna go bed this. So, because I already have the sealant open, because we bed the upper portion, the track that you would have saw earlier, and then this part here, right here, slides down the track, so you can see the channel here, and then that goes down the track. So we'll show you guys. We'll try to film tonight. We'll have a bit of light, but if not, we'll show you in the morning what it looks like. What do you mean? You guys don't sand stuff in your bathroom sink? Weirdos. Yeah, this lines up.
So that way. Nice. Yeah, it fits. So
Lucy light here coming in clutch. I think we can make it brighter.
That is the brightest. Well, now it's flashing.
Okay, maybe not party.
It's not party, it's an emergency.
I'm just gonna clean all this acetone.
Do you want to just explain to everyone why we're doing this at night?
Oh yeah, it's just so we can put it on tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just because, or else like everything takes a day longer. You need this to set for 12 hours. So it's the fast cure, but it's still like, it says cures in 24 hours. So yeah, it's still like you might not even be able to put it on tomorrow. So. Forward, it has to go forward. Lift it. Yeah. Lift it. There we go. this is the finished product here. I might clean a tiny bit more after there, but yeah, there's a bigger seal around than it used to, just because we got a tiny bit of like spreading from just the impact when it hit the deck, but it's still super solid in there. So I just wanted to make sure it was really sealed up and glued in. So that should do it. It's not as pristine and pretty as it used to be, but it's going to be a whole lot stronger. So, and that's the important thing. I've kind of like given up on having a museum looking boat on the outside and wanting more of a utilitarian look on the outside and keeping a homey, nice, pristine look inside. But yeah, when you're cruising, you gotta let go of the whole, you know, everything's gotta be pretty all the time, because you're never gonna sail. All right, I think that's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Let them know you'll see them in the morning.
I'll see you mañana.
Well, sadly, we won't see you tomorrow, but we definitely hope we'll see you next week. If you stay tuned, you'll find out if our gooseneck attachment works out.
And now we're gonna go see if this puppy actually slides on the bracket.
And just exactly how we put this boat back into an operational state.
The thing was just breaking, and then we felt just like so shitty and defeated.
Stay tuned next week for another episode of Sailing Sitka.
Thank you to all our viewers, and a special thank you to our patrons who make this lifestyle a reality.